welcome to our morning edition of Arirang News. We begin with these stories making the headlines at this hour, starting with comments from the U.S. on relations with North Korea. The White House says President Trump is receptive to contact with the North Korean leader Kim Jong-un and wants to see the same kind of progress made during the leaders' summit in 2018. The South Korean military has suspended its loudspeaker broadcasts across the border to North Korea for the first time in a year. This comes a week after President Lee, who vowed to improve inter-Korean ties, took office. The U.S. is hinting at its willingness to extend the 90-day pause on reciprocal tariffs, with an official saying it may be extended for countries that negotiate in good faith. But Trump says while he's willing to extend the pause, he does not believe that it will be necessary. The White House says U.S. President Donald Trump is receptive to correspondence with North Korean leader Kim Jong-un and wants to see the same kind of progress made during the leaders' first summit in 2018. However, according to reports, North Korean diplomats in New York have refused to accept a letter from the U.S. leader. Our Lee Seung-jae starts us off.
U.S. President Donald Trump may be seeking to resume talks with North Korea. According to the White House press secretary, Trump is receptive to correspondence with North Korean leader Kim Jong-un in a push to revive U.S.-North Korea talks.
The president remains receptive to correspondence with Kim Jong-un, and he'd like to see the progress that was made at that summit in Singapore, which I know you covered in 2018 during his first term. As for specific correspondence, I'll leave that to the president to answer.
The comments come as NK News reported that North Korean diplomats in New York have refused to accept a letter from Trump in a bid to restart communication channels between Washington and Pyongyang. Citing an informed high-level source, the report said that the U.S. leader had drafted the letter to North Korean leader Kim with the goal of restarting dialogue. However, the source said that despite multiple attempts to deliver the letter in person, the diplomats at the UN headquarters refused to accept it. Still, the reports indicate that Washington is looking to resume top-down diplomacy with the regime's leader. The two had 3 in-person meetings during Trump's first term in office, the first being in Singapore in 2018, the second in Hanoi in February 2019, and the third taking place at the inter-Korean truce village of Panmunjom in June of the same year. While the first summit in Singapore resulted in the two leaders agreeing on joint efforts to pursue the complete denuclearization of the Korean peninsula, the second meeting in Vietnam failed to produce a deal. Lee Seung-jae, Arirang News.
And North Korean leader Kim Jong-un has sent a congratulatory letter to Russian President Vladimir Putin in honor of Russia Day. According to the North state-run Korean Central News Agency on Thursday, in the letter, Kim called Russia a brotherly nation and said Pyongyang and Moscow share an unbreakable comrade-in-arms relationship. The letter was delivered by North Korean ambassador to Russia, Shin Hong-chul, to Russia's foreign ministry to mark Russia Day on June 12th, a national holiday marking the formation of the Russian Federation. While North Korea's state media had traditionally released Kim's Russia Day letter without context, since last year, the KCNA has also reported on the delivery process before publishing the full text. The South Korean military has, starting Wednesday, halted loudspeaker broadcasts against the North in border areas, just 1 week after President Lee took office. This, following orders from the president, is aimed at easing military tensions between the two Koreas and to pave the way for restored mutual trust. President Lee is said to have made the decision in light of the recent absence of any major provocations from North Korea, but clarified that there was no prior consultation with Pyongyang regarding this measure. In response, the North appears to have also turned off its own speakers last night. For the past 5 months, the regime has been blaring loud, eerie noises, including howling wolves, seemingly meant to harass those living in communities on the southern side of the border. The Trump administration signaled its willingness to extend the pause on reciprocal tariffs for key trading partners that's set to expire on July 9th, but made it clear that it is not a necessity. Our Lee Soo-jin reports.
The U.S. may extend tariff breaks for countries pursuing trade negotiations in good faith. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent, who is leading U.S. trade talks, said in a congressional hearing on Wednesday that the U.S. might extend the 90-day pause on reciprocal tariffs for certain countries. He mentioned that there are 18 important trading partners that the Trump administration is working towards reaching an agreement with. But President Donald Trump also told reporters on Wednesday that while he was willing to extend the 90-day pause, he did not believe that it would be necessary. He also revealed that the U.S. will send trade offer letters to dozens of countries within 2 weeks that they could either accept or decline. The 90-day pause on reciprocal tariffs that were announced on April 9th is set to expire on July 9th. This has led South Korea's newly elected administration to prioritize reaching a trade agreement with the U.S., with President Lee Jae-myung expressing a shared commitment to a deal during his first call with President Trump. There are also expectations that the two leaders will continue discussions at next week's G7 summit in Canada. Bessent's remarks come after the U.S. announced that it had reached a framework agreement with China during its second high-level trade talks held in London. Those specific details have yet to be disclosed.
Dozens of countries have engaged the administration thus far with offers to improve their trade relations with the United States. This includes China. I have just returned in the middle of last night from successful negotiations in London with a Chinese delegation.
The Trump administration has so far announced a comprehensive agreement with the UK and a framework deal with China that serves as a stepping stone to eventually negotiate a full-fledged trade agreement. And as it remains a framework deal, Bessent acknowledged that negotiations with China are likely to be a lengthy process, signaling that while key issues like Beijing's export controls on rare earths critical to advanced tech and defense were addressed, broader trade disputes remain. But active negotiations, not just with China but other countries as well, are expected to continue, especially with the U.S. Federal Appeals Court ruling on Tuesday that the tariffs can remain in effect until the court completes its full legal review. Lee Soo-jin, Arirang News.
Protests in Los Angeles continue as the city faces the sixth day of clashes between demonstrators and Trump's immigration agents. For the latest updates on what's happening there and how the situation has impacted the Korean American community, we connect live with Lee Seung-ho, an attorney at law in Los Angeles. Thank you for joining us this morning.
Hello, how are you doing?
Good, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Great. So how serious is the situation in Los Angeles? Could you tell us what you have been seeing over the past few days? Is it safe to move around the city? How has it affected people's daily lives there?
Here, especially downtown has been very busy with the big crowds every day. Most people are peaceful, but a few have broken the window or started small fires. Police shut down nearby streets and sometimes pause the subway. If you are not going into the heart of a protest, things feel pretty normal. Shops are open and the people are working. Just give yourself extra time for travel, take a bus or ride shares, and avoid the main protest area until the evening.
So I see. As an immigration lawyer, how is the Trump administration's immigration policy affecting your clients? And how do you assess the overall situation regarding immigration raids in Los Angeles and across the country?
I see that the Trump's policy is very exceptional. It's kind of threatening people. In case of my client, they are very worried. Trump's immigration rules say small offenses like a traffic ticket, speed ticket, could lead to deportation. There are also rumors that ICE is arresting people near schools and shelters. We haven't seen huge dawn raids yet, but the fear is the same. Many are skipping early appointments and staying home in the morning and even calling out of work to be safe.
Right, I see. That sounds pretty serious. So Korean Americans in Los Angeles recently criticized Donald Trump Jr. after he posted a controversial meme mocking the unrest by referring to rooftop Koreans from the 1992 riots. So tell us more about how the Korean American community has been responding to the latest protests.
I see that's very rude to our community. That joke hurt a lot of people. Churches and community groups put out statements asking public figures not to make light of it. Online, people use the hashtags like "not our history." And the local centers held Zoom talks where older folks shared the stories from 1992. And the young activists talked about how to stay safe today without causing more tensions.
I see. And what are some of the biggest concerns for Korean Americans in Los Angeles and across the United States? How has the Korean community been affected in terms of doing business there? And are people worried that they might have to leave the city they live in and leave the country that they live in right now?
According to recent statistics limited to Los Angeles city area, small shops in Koreatown have 20 to 30% fewer customers. Some restaurants are cutting hours because staff are afraid to commute. A few new arrivals are talking about moving to Orange County or the Inland Empire for safety and the cheaper rent. But most people love LA. Our tight community, Korean-speaking services, and job opportunities are harder to live. If things stay tense through the summer, I think more families might look to suburbs or even other states.
I see. And we are seeing the federal government and state officials clash over the deployment of military troops to the LA protests, with the California governor now asking the court to block Trump's decision. So how do you think that will play out as the protests spread to other cities like New York and Chicago? Could this become an issue in other states as well?
In my view, there is some constitutional issues between freedom of speech and power of president. So Governor Newsom asked the court to block federal troops, saying that the Insurrection Act doesn't cover peaceful protest. If court agrees, sanctuary states can refuse federal forces. The administration may appeal to the Supreme Court before the election. Other sanctuary states like New York or Illinois could do the same. At the same time, more conservative states might ask for federal help. So some cities could have troops and others won't.
I see. All right, Mr. Lee, thank you so much for your time today. I hope you stay safe there. And thank you so much for your insight. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
The recent conflict between U.S. President Donald Trump and Tesla CEO Elon Musk appears to be heading toward a truce. The Tesla CEO on Wednesday took to X to say that he regrets some of his posts about Trump, adding that they went too far. In response, the White House press secretary said Trump is aware of Musk's post and said he appreciates it. Meanwhile, Trump, during a podcast interview with the New York Post on the same day, praised Musk's post, adding that while he doesn't blame him for some of his assessments, he was disappointed. The White House added that the administration has made no efforts to review government contracts with Musk's companies. Representatives from multilateral development banks, local companies, and the Korean government gathered in Seoul for talks on ways to foster cooperation in the environmental and green technology industry. Our Moon Ji-young tells us more.
Strengthening cooperation between domestic companies and global partners and promoting local companies' eco-friendly technologies is what the Ministry of Environment and the Ministry of Trade, Industry and Energy aim to achieve at the 18th Global Green of Korea Forum currently being held in Seoul.
We hope that this year's forum serves as a platform to enable participants to see new business opportunities by sharing each country's policies and efforts for carbon reduction, as well as the success stories of international development banks.
The forum, which opened on Wednesday, seeks to provide a robust platform for eco-friendly and energy industry businesses in alignment with the global trend of carbon reduction to support the overseas expansion of domestic companies and the securing of crucial growth engines. This key event provides networking opportunities, project briefings, and matchmaking for Korean and international businesses.
Korea's leadership in environmental technology is an example that we admire, and we're eager to build bridges of cooperation that benefit both of our people.
The scale of the projects presented by the overseas clients and buyers at this year's event amounts to a total of $8 billion. Key projects include the Bangladesh Water Supply and Sewerage Authority water treatment project. Over the course of 3 days, domestic companies will have the opportunity to actively promote the excellence of a variety of environmental and green technologies to potential overseas clients and buyers. 문지영, Arirang News.
A new South Korean animation, The King of Kings, is taking the U.S. box office by storm, even surging past director Bong Joon-ho's Oscar-winning Parasite. Our Choi Soo-young sat down with the director of the animated film.
The King of Kings is a 3D animated film directed by Jang Seong-ho. It tells the life story of Jesus based on the book The Life of Our Lord by British author Charles Dickens. Famous Hollywood actors like Pierce Brosnan, Uma Thurman, and Ben Kingsley voiced the characters. Following its release in the US on April 11th, the film made over $54 million in just 17 days, breaking the box office record of Bong Joon-ho's Parasite for the highest grossing Korean film in the US. Director Jang Seong-ho expressed both pride and humility about achieving such success with a non-Korean story told through a Korean production team.
I had been running a visual effects company for a long time, so I was confident in technical skills. I thought animation was the best way to fully use them. But Korea couldn't support the budget, so we aimed for the US market. Christian content there almost never fails, and no one had ever made a full-length animated film about Jesus. That's when I knew this would work.
He said Christianity is deeply rooted in American culture, so he adapted Dickens' book to avoid cliché and worked hard to make it feel natural to international audiences.
We were inspired by Dickens's book for a fresh approach to tell the story through the eyes of a curious child learning who the true king is. Since our main target was America, we focused on making it feel natural to their audience. We got expert advice and many reviews to ensure it wasn't just imitation, but something truly comfortable.
He said it was tough to focus fully on character quality and production without much support.
Creating delicate character movement was a real challenge, and I'm not fully satisfied with the results. Most of my energy went into securing funding without much support, not creating. But now, with better support and conditions, I'm confident the next project will be much stronger.
He hopes that Korea's animation environment won't waste the talents of Korean creators.
There are many talented Koreans, but a lack of opportunities pushes them away, often abroad. Many are now working in Hollywood. I hope the success of my work, The King of Kings, helps create a better environment so they can return and shine in Korea.
The King of Kings will be released in Korea on July 23rd. Choi Soo-young, Arirang News.
Now let's take a look at some stories from around the world with our Choi Ji. Good morning, Ji.
Good morning, Anji.
So Ji, let's begin in Gaza, where it's been reported that more Palestinians were killed near aid sites. Do tell us more.
On Wednesday, at least 41 Palestinians were killed near food aid distribution centers, according to Gaza health officials. Of these, 25 deaths occurred as people gathered near the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation site in the Netzarim corridor, where reports say Israeli forces opened fire on those approaching the distribution area. The Israeli military states shots were fired as warning shots at those deemed suspects entering active combat zones. Since mid-May, when the U.S.-backed Gaza Humanitarian Foundation began operations, over 160 Palestinians have died and more than 1,000 have been injured around its aid zones. The United Nations has condemned the violence and declined to supply aid via the foundation, which uses private contractors with Israeli military backup. Devastating floods have swept through South Africa's Eastern Cape province, killing nearly 50 and leaving many missing. Officials warn the death toll may rise. On Wednesday, at least 49 people were confirmed dead as heavy rain and even rare snowfall struck the region early on Tuesday, overwhelming rivers and causing mudslides around Umtata and surrounding towns. Eastern Cape's provincial premier described the scene as catastrophic, saying as we speak here, other bodies are being discovered and that the numbers are just escalating hour after hour. A school bus was also washed away by floodwaters near Umtata. 6 high school students have been confirmed dead, 3 others rescued from trees, and 4 remain missing. The floods have damaged at least 58 schools and 20 hospitals. Hundreds of families have been left homeless and in temporary shelters. Weather officials warn that the extreme weather patterns could persist for several days, posing an ongoing risk. The United Kingdom and European Union, in collaboration with Spain, reached a political agreement on Wednesday, resolving Gibraltar post-Brexit status. Under the deal, approximately 15,000 daily cross-border commuters will be able to enter Gibraltar using residence permits or national identity cards, eliminating routine passport stamp checks. At Gibraltar's airport and seaport, passengers' passports will be checked jointly by Gibraltar and Spanish authorities. UK Foreign Secretary David Lammy stated the agreement protects British sovereignty while boosting Gibraltar's economic stability. Spain and EU leaders welcomed the accord, calling it the removal of Europe's last wall. Brian Wilson, the co-founder and frontman of the rock band The Beach Boys, died on Wednesday at the age of 82. Widely renowned for his genius songwriting, Wilson was known for his landmark tracks, including Good Vibrations as well as the 1966 album Pet Sounds. Wilson had battered dementia since early 2024 following the death of his wife. Beginning in 1961, the Beach Boys released a series of upbeat songs that celebrated aspects of California's youth culture, including surfing and romance. Tributes have poured in from across the music world, with Bob Dylan and Ringo Starr among those praising Wilson's enduring impact on music and culture.
Jeju Island will see its first monsoon rains of the summer a week earlier than average today. Meanwhile, inland areas will continue to experience heat at around 30 degrees Celsius. But now we do have to talk about Typhoon Utip, the first typhoon of the season. It's not expected to directly impact the Korean peninsula, but the increased moisture could lead to significant rainfall through the weekend. And until Saturday, Jeju can expect heavy downpours of over 200 millimeters. And as we can see, certain parts of Korea will be seeing heavier showers, with the south coast seeing up 200 millimeters. But for today, upper regions stay sunny and hot, with a high of 32 degrees Celsius here in the capital, possibly being the hottest day of the season, but staying rather cloudy in most of the southern regions. Then Jeju will start to see monsoon rain in the morning. Nationwide rain is expected over the weekend, but let's keep an eye on the developing rain system.
Now that's all we have for this morning. Arirang News will be back at 5 p.m. Korea time. Thanks for watching.